Thank you very much.
Hi, Steve.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm sure it's not your first time in Greece, but I'm still going to ask the question.
It's not my first time in Greece, but I've only been to Athens, which is quite unusual for people from the UK coming to Greece.
Yeah, well, it's true. Yeah, it's absolutely. You like Athens.
I love it. It's amazing.
It's one really, of the...
And I've managed to even persuade my cousins from America to come over for a week's foodie trip.
Oh, wow.
Just from my photos on Instagram.
There you go. He's leaking everything we said together today.
I'm trying.
The stage is yours, man.
Thank you very much.
Take it home.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you again for inviting me back to Athens. I've only actually ever been here for work, but with work, as we all work in hospitality, you get pleasure out of food and experiences. A little background to me, I studied hospitality back in 2000, which means I am a millennial, so I can agree or disagree with some of the things that were said earlier on. I then went on to travel and set up a backpackers hostel in London with 550 beds, then created a hotel chain, and from that created a digital agency at the top, Umi Digital, where we provide digital marketing services and technologies to hotel and travel businesses. Been fortunate enough to work with monoliths at Toposophy, I'm dyslexic, so that as a word is really difficult for me to spell or say. But we've worked together on a few projects where they've done research into various issues surrounding tourism in the UK. And where I am today, I'm chairman of the Hotel Marketing Association in the UK, also the British Educational Travel Association, and I'm a CEO of a accommodation and education business where we operate 300 apartments in central London. But enough about me. More about you guys. So the next 20-25 minutes, I hope to give you some ideas that you may have tried before, you may be doing better than what you see, or may inspire you to just try something a little different. So first of all, as a destination, one of the most important things is to understand your niche and market towards it. The world today with technology means that you do not have to mass market to get return on investment. So there's a very interesting book that's been written called The Long and the Short. And what they explain is the long is your brand building. So an advert like this for Australia, it's very much about the icons, the logo, it's Australia. It's not specific, it's about the country. It's Visit Greece. What's then important is to understand where your destination needs the support. So in the UK, I work a lot within youth travel. Youth travel provides 38% of all arrivals to the UK. Yeah, that's not a niche, that's a major part of the industry. It delivers £27 billion, which is slightly more euros than it was a couple of hours ago after the Brexit deal, but it's a really big part. But the tourist board see it as a small niche and they don't market towards it. It's a bit of an issue. So if you don't understand your niche, you can't attract them. But Australia, I think, not just because Diane is from Australia and I've lived there, is very good at doing that. So this was a campaign they did a couple of years ago. I don't know if any of you did it, but a bit of a rite of passage for young British kids is to go and spend a year or 2 years working and travelling in Australia. It's called a working holiday visa. But through the recession, there was a problem with the numbers of students that were coming over to Australia, postgrads or undergrads. So they did a very, very targeted campaign, a campaign that I would never have seen because I am now, sadly, far too old, aimed at a specific age demographic. What's interesting is Visit Britain, not always known as being dynamic, have actually taken away age demographics, but are focused on the reason for travel demographics. So they've split at the moment into two. You've got buzz seekers and explorers. Buzz seekers are what some would say are millennials or Gen Z, but actually it could be someone of any age, but someone who wants to do something different for a buzz. The explorers are traditionally the older traveller who are coming to maybe retrace their roots around the UK, and they have campaigns in very specific countries with very specific content to attract those particular people. Why? Because you can see a return on investment, which is what governments want from a national tourist board, and it is cheaper than going back to just brand building. This you can do all the time in a very cheap manner, but not focusing the digital or the specific budgets on it. What this also means is you can get particular content and products around that to grow. Now, the next slide is somewhat controversial, but I'll try not to offend anyone. There is a guy who I think, don't particularly like him, but is a bit of a marketing genius. And he used technology in a slightly shady fashion to win probably the most powerful job in the world. Any ideas who that guy is? Very good. Yeah, you can see him. He's actually blended in there because actually that's the color of his skin. But, where's it gone? Yeah, well, unfortunately the slide shows two photos. It's a photo of him on his private jet eating McDonald's. And there's another photo of him eating Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah? So, through the election campaign, his whole niche was to look at Rust Belt communities in America, poor communities, to show them the American dream. Yeah? I'm a billionaire, I'm on a private jet, and I will make your dreams come true. So he ate McDonald's. In the polls, he noticed that the black communities in the Rust Belt areas were not voting for him. So what they then did was create another targeted campaign at black communities where he ate KFC. Why is that? It's because they felt that KFC was the brand for poor black Americans, and McDonald's was a fast food for the white. Now, this sounds terrible, but if you look back at the figures, he got a huge support in those communities, despite the fact that his rhetoric was actually quite racist. That's why Cambridge Analytica got in trouble. That's why Brexit happened, because it was amazing marketing and targeting. It's accessible to everyone. Facebook allows you to do it, Instagram, Snap, whatever you want, you can really focus on that target. So, sadly, you can play Spot the Difference, but that is one of those things that happen, which is kind of incredible. Now, this is in the wrong order from what I did yesterday, but I will get my way through it, a bit like Boris Johnson did in Brussels earlier on. So, this is not supposed to be rude in British humour, but little touches in hotels, particularly in the luxury sector, make a massive difference. So I'm a kind of romantic guy, and almost forgot the fact that it was my 3rd wedding anniversary last week. Ooh. But I remembered just in time to write a card for my wife before I went to America, and I left a card on the side of her bed when I left early in the morning and said, "Do not open until the 8th of October." So on the way to Heathrow, I thought about what we could do, and I was like, we'll book a hotel because we're renovating a house and it wasn't ready. So I looked at my Marriott app, because my Marriott app was where I was staying in a Marriott when I got to the States, and I saw I could get a hotel room in London through my points. I had 140,000 points, and I could stay at the London Edition, really famous 5-star hotel, for 60,000 points. So I looked at the points, and then I looked at the price. It was £1,400 for that room. I'm like, what's the catch? It can't be 60,000 points and no tax for the booking. So I booked. No surprises. It didn't cost me a penny. And not only that, did I got this lovely email, automated, but with my name in, saying that not only will I get credited with more points for using my points, I'll get all these extra things. Yeah? So where sometimes you reward people with loyalty, but you make them feel bad because they've used their points, oh, that's dirty. Actually, they've done this amazing thing. We do not have a club lounge in the hotel, but we will try and help you. I didn't know I got access to a club lounge, but that's great. And you get additional reward points if you spend money with us. Oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll stay there. So the Berners Tavern, which is their restaurant, which I've been to before, is amazing. It's run by a chef called Jason Atherton. He's an amazing chef. So I then thought, well, we should just stay in the hotel. I've been traveling. I'll be jet lagged. I don't want to be grumpy in front of the wife. Happy wife, happy life. We all know that. It's very important. So I then emailed. Oh, hello. Then I emailed. Very easy. Hey there, I booked you a lovely hotel under room da-da-da. It's my wife and everything else. So, as you know, a lot of hotels, the restaurants are outsourced. It's a third party. And often the hotels and the restaurants don't get on so well. I had that experience. It's not great. So, we turn up. I check in. And this is what they did. And this, if you have a rule in luxury, is so important. Create delight, create a smile, and create a memory. So I turned up to the room. There was rose petals on the bed. My wife already thinks I am the most romantic man on earth. Yeah. Happy anniversary to the Lowys. Handwritten. A human wrote it. Yep. With a beautiful gold leaf chocolate mousse with no nuts in, because I told them that my wife had nut allergies and she could actually eat a free dessert for once. They then said, since we did not know what time you're coming, we've left cocktails in the bar for you. Again, that photo's not there. But there was a cocktail in little bottles with cocktail glasses so we could just pour them in and drink them. And then after dinner, they delivered this. So in terms of brownie points, I can now go to any Liverpool match for the rest of the season without any guilt or any problem. And sorry to Chelsea fans, much more enjoyment. So that, for me, was brilliant. Secondly, to be able to do that, you need to have great people. The UK is struggling within the hospitality sector about getting great people. At the moment, there are 45,000 available jobs in London alone, just in hospitality. Yeah? Waiting to be filled. Pretty scary. But why that is, I think, is because a lot of hotels are lazy. I can't speak for yourselves, but they do not have people in their business plans. Oh, well, we'll find someone. Or, oh, well, they've been here 20 years, we'll promote them to manager. The reality is, to manage a hotel, you have to be an excellent manager, particularly today. Technology, health and safety, insurance, yield, owners, directors, banks. It's a skill. So when I was doing hotels, 50% of all of the staff were students. So this is me, pre-Botox. All of those people behind were young interns, paid, who worked for me. The chap in the top corner, he was our maintenance guy. He was doing a plumbing apprentice. He worked for me for 3 years and went on to become an industrial boiler engineer. Amazing. And he became a brand ambassador. We had graphic designers, front of house, people from America, from the furthest away was New Zealand. But we built a culture with a love of learning, a love of people, and so all my heads of department that were full-time staff did not mind having interns. When was the last time you went to a hotel school or your local college or local university and offered opportunities for people to work in your hotel? The very, very tall chap here, I'm 6 foot and he's like up here. We call him Peter Crouch, for those who know football. Was an intern for me 4 years ago. He is now the managing director of Umi Digital. He has 12 staff. He's grown it. As David said, empower your staff. He takes it on his own way. At this moment in time exactly, he is pitching to one of the largest pub chains in the UK, who have 100 hotels, about us working with them completely off his own back. He's 26. Yep. He studied international business at one of the best universities in the UK and was working in a bank, sorry, any bankers here, and was so bored he wanted the opportunity to do something different. And now he loves the hospitality sector, even though he's slightly on the outskirts of it. And to this day, even though I don't have hotels, I have apartments, I lecture around the world at a hotel school. This is Lausanne. It was actually very nerve-wracking. I normally wear funky socks, and in Lausanne, you are not allowed to wear bright-coloured socks. So I got in trouble. I actually got told if you wanted to come back again, you have to wear black or grey socks. Yeah. But their theory, and this, yeah, there are, when I finished university, we used to have a beer. They had Cloudy Bay. One guy was holding a bottle of Crew to give to his girlfriend. I was like, this is a different world. But what's interesting, all of these kids, not one of them actually wanted to be a hotel manager. They wanted to be asset managers or in finance. One wanted to be in marketing. But actually there are colleges and schools crying out for opportunities for young people with the right personality and core skills for hospitality and who could be amazing managers. This was a book that was written 8 years ago by a guy called James Warman, a British guy. It was called Stuffication. And he said the future of the Western world was experience over stuff. We've talked about it a lot already. This is one of the landing pages for Airbnb. It's delivering experiences and destinations in a completely different way, looking very, very much like Netflix, because that's a common way of how people look. It's not cookie cutter and chopped together like an old travel brochure. It's all quite different and cool. Going back to Marriott, I hope I get extra Marriott points for this, but they have a whole thing called Marriott Moments, giving your loyalty opportunities that money can't buy. So this is Coachella. If any of you know, it's quite a famous music festival like Glastonbury is in the UK. You could use your points to bid to get a ticket and glamp at Coachella. That's awesome. They also have partnered with a few sports teams, sadly Manchester United. So at this moment in time, if you do have Marriott points, I hear there's really good value opportunities with Manchester United because no one wants to go and see them. But last season, they played Barcelona. And one of the moments you could bid for was to go into the changing room before the match and meet the players before they warmed up. That is an experience, a moment that you can't buy. And you'll probably be, if you're a Man United fan, brand loyal for the rest of your life. And those things, even if you're a small independent hotel, you can do, not to this level, but you can give people opportunities and experience that money can't buy. And I'll give you an example. Go back to Harry. Harry chose Greece for his honeymoon. Hey, very good, Harry. Yeah. So he went to a few of the islands, and this is called 18 Grapes Hotel. So he was there. He drinks. His wife doesn't. And the owner of the hotel said, would you like to come and see my vineyard? Oh, I didn't realize you had a vineyard. I said, Harry, you're stupid. It's called 18 Grapes. But he took 3 or 4 of the guests. He cooked them a salad, or made a salad, prepared the salad, straight from his vines. They did wine tasting. He sat with the guy and talked and went through it all. And apart from all the romantic photos he has, this is his favorite moment of the whole trip. Yep, he just said it was amazing. He lost track of time. He didn't have his phone, apart from taking photos, obviously, and met people from around the world who were staying at that hotel. They drank a lot of wine, so his memories of it are a little fuzzy, but he does talk about it a lot, and I think he still emails the guy who owns. So diversify. You're going to see some logos you may or may not like in a minute, but when was the last time you actually seriously looked at your market mix in your hotel? Yep, you did? Good. Just now. Yep. And it's something that's so important to constantly look at. Do you have too much OTA business? Probably. Have you got terrible rates for travel trade, and are they paying you late? Potentially. But you need to constantly move it, and you need to come up with these ideas to either drive it direct or drive it through new sources. But a lot of people react rather than proactively look at that market mix. And part of the reason is technology, and I'll go on to that in a minute. But if you have all your eggs in one basket, it can be very dangerous. The Thomas Cook thing is not the first time a major travel company in Europe has gone bust, leaving hotels with unpaid bills. But hotels are still going. I can't believe this happened to me. You know, I think it was Einstein said, madness is when you repeat the same mistake over and over again. And I think it's time for people to really use this as an opportunity to diversify. Look at different things, because these things happen, and they will continue to happen, because the reality is they didn't diversify, and they didn't innovate, and therefore the hotels, unfortunately, are often the end of the chain and end up in problems. Last week I was speaking at the Festival of Marketing, and this guy was speaking before me, and he talked about distinctiveness over differentiation. So, again, if the tourist board's here, I apologize, but star ratings will not exist. Because, quite frankly, globally, they mean nothing. Yep. What does a 5-star hotel here look like, and a 5-star hotel in Dubai, and then a large branded hotel with 5 letters in Gatwick Airport? Yep. Completely different. So people are looking for this distinctive thing that is not star rated. It differentiates you. This is a photo. I was fortunate enough to go and see my cousin, who was getting married in Bali. And I was recommended, very old-fashioned, in the pub by a friend, that I should go and try a hotel in Ubud, which is in Bali. It's up in the hills, up in the jungle. It's an eco-resort. Yep. No official star rating, 3-star. This is not a 3-star hotel. This, I literally am getting bumps on my arm because it was incredible. Every little thing. We were talking earlier on about involving the local community. This was a local lady who does jewellery, and she was sat there talking about how she made the jewellery. This was the view over the paddy fields. Yeah? This was the food. All the vegetables are grown on site. Yeah? Obviously, not the fish, but they get fish from the local rivers. All served on banana, all served on stuff that's reusable. This was the room. Yeah? Now, a 3-star hotel in the UK does not have a 200-year-old 4-poster bed that looks like this. It's not about star ratings. This was a bathroom. To be honest, there are some 3-star hotels in London that bathrooms do look like this. And you do get quite worried that you're going to fall through, but this, you know what they said to us? That, thank you very much for saying, as you know, we've had some earthquakes recently, and unfortunately, or fortunately, we felt an earthquake. Safest place to be, a room that was built 220 years ago and is still standing. But they said, we have air conditioning in the room, we have hot water, but if we don't have sun, you won't be able to use it. Okay, no problem, because it's all solar panelled. Yep, but that was the outside shower. Little concerning bathroom time in the morning when you look across and you see your neighbour who waves at you. But amazing. This was their romantic dinner. I'm a romantic guy, obviously. Flower petals, I do it everywhere I go. But they served this in our Balinese wedding hut, and that was sunset. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. This, how much was it? $70 a night. Yeah. This was not me, but my wife doing yoga. She loves yoga. This was the morning session. I tried it, but my body does not move like that. But I tried. And then we went on a local walk. So one of the guys there was like, look, we do a little tour around the local village. Would you like to go? Yes. So we went to a real paddy field and met the farmer and met this guy who was wicked. Authentic, smiles, delight, luxury, not about price, not about demographic, and not about star rating, most importantly. So there is one whole slide that's missing, which was there yesterday, but it was about technology. Whose property management system is in the cloud? No? Whose property management system connects directly to all the OTAs and their channel manager? Yeah, we got two. Now it does. So, yeah, a few over there. Very good. So when I took over this educational business with 300 apartments in 19 locations across London, plus a new luxury brand that I'd created, everything was manual. So within 3 months, we'd put everything into the cloud. We connected the PMS to the channel management system to distribute everything, and then reverse back in so it was live availability. What that meant is when I was on the way to Bali and I was doing the rate management until I got a proper rate manager, I was able to change the rates and see a booking go straight into the PMS, even though I was a 12-hour flight away from the property. That is nirvana. We're now building technology on top of that where people can check in with their passports on their phone. And our accountancy system, accountants, you know, are going to have a direct integration. So what the diagram showed was all the technology, all filtering in through simple technology. The most important thing about that is allows humans to have more time to be with your customers. Since I've implemented it, we've actually employed 10% more staff, not got rid of staff, but just in different roles. The reason being is by next summer we're going to have 400 apartments in London because we now have the ability to scale and develop. Our average room rate's up 30%, even though London is only up 5%, because we have the right technology stack that's fit for purpose today. You don't have internet. Do you have 4G? You can do it from your phone. So I urge you to look at technology to make your life easier, because that's what it's all about, to allow you to deliver more amazing experience, better service, and get better people working for you who love what you do. And then finally, my big passion over the last year has been pirates. I do love rum. Does anyone know the first commercialized rum in the world, what it was called? No, Mount Gay Rum, Barbados, 1703. Yep, the time of the pirates. This is what Steve Jobs said when he first got kicked out of Apple: "I'd rather be a pirate than be in the Navy." And what he meant is when you were in the Navy, you had to follow the rules. But pirates didn't. In the late 1600s, early 1700s, they ran the Carolinas in America. They had their own island. Nassau, in the Bahamas, was a pirate island run by pirates where everyone had an equal vote. If your captain was shit, you could vote him off. It was like X Factor, but equal votes. Yeah? They invented the mojito. Pretty important. They had same-sex marriages. Because, 2 guys on a boat or 20 guys on a boat, you get a bit bored, So they got married. But the spirit of pirates is very important. You look at the food scene here, people are trying so many different cool things that I think possibly as a walking city, Athens is probably one of the best cities I've ever been to for food, with accessibility everywhere. And it's easy to find. So what I would urge you guys to do is think like a pirate, don't drink too much rum, but think like a pirate, tear up your rule book and try and do something different. Thank you.
So you heard him say twice that the order of the slides were not correct and some slides were missing. That's what a Chelsea fan does to a Liverpool fan.
That's okay, don't worry.
That's why I had to do it, man. I'm so sorry. I know, but I had to do it. So I'm going to open the floor to 2 questions. I know actually we have 1 or 2 questions. Can you, you will voice them. Please, go ahead.
We have 2 questions. First one, what are the key soft skills you are looking for new hires?
What was that? I didn't hear that.
What other key? Can you repeat that, please?
Soft skills.
Key soft skills.
Yes.
So one of the really important things with hospitality is you find people who like people. So if you want an amazing customer service manager or front of house person, there have to be someone who likes people. And in the younger community, it's quite difficult because we're so connected to phones that people actually prefer screens in front of their faces than dealing with people. And that is a very important thing. I also think, because of the fact that when you work in a hotel, you often meet people from all over the world, is a love of travel and learning. And then finally, from a management point of view, and I trained as a football coach when I was younger, is resilience, it's emotional intelligence now. As CEO of the company I have 125 staff, from a 67-year-old Canadian PhD professor to an 18-year-old maintenance staff. And I need to try and have the emotional intelligence to get that marginal gain and 1% better from each of those people. It's not one size fits all. So often you will employ people like yourself, but to find people with people skills and love of learning and love of travel is very important.
Second question, you mentioned you had a second one.
Yes. Your advice for young people on how to position themselves when they are looking for a new job.
Oh, wow. Geez, how long do we have? One of the things that's very difficult for young people today is a lot of Gen Z, and I don't like the demographics too much, but Gen Z feel quite entitled if they've done a degree to become a manager. The reality is as a young person, I scrubbed toilets, I made beds, I peeled potatoes, happened to be for Prince Charles, but you still have to start somewhere. And having a university degree does not mean you're going to be a manager. And I think from a young person looking for a job, it's really important to be realistic with things. But also, one thing that's very important is showing your passion. Because too many CVs I receive or too many emails are so bland and boring that when you meet the piece, it's dull. It's not interesting to talk to. And if you're in hospitality, particularly, I've met a few people at the cocktail party last night. The hotels look incredible. I would have loved to have worked when I was studying hospitality there. Is I also think companies have to sell themselves to those young people about what a great opportunity, that you'll retain them, you'll develop them, you'll give them opportunities. And I think it's actually a merge of young people being realistic and the hotels selling the dream of what it can be as a really cool industry.
And all the guys, give me a big round of applause, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much.